Welcome back to the final episode of 1 to 5. The journey of where we create a new account and we go all the way from tier 1 up to tier 5 and just discuss kind of tips and tricks along the way and also how to prioritize certain aspects of the game and, just help you out along the way. In the last episode, we did get up to tier 4 and we are basically broke. We do need to play some games and get some credits. So I'm going to go and play a few games and I'll be back. Well, that game didn't go too badly. We can apply that as well. And we get 5k XP and more credits, obviously. We can apply that. And we should then be able to do something like that. Besides the point, like that's going to be... And we can finally get that done. Okay. So at least we're now looking a little bit better on the credit front, even though that, yes, okay, we don't have quite enough. We do, however, have a little bit more XP that we can play with, so we will be able to get the tracks, and we should be able to buy the tracks and sell the other one. Yes, we still have enough money, so that is all good. I don't think we're going to have enough credits for that. No, we're not. So we are going to have to play another game before we can get the turret, but that's not too much of a problem. Let's play another game quickly. Okay, so we can then apply that one as well. We only have one more apply left. But that was a pretty nice game. Come top on damage and XP. Pretty good. That was in a tier 4. Was it tier 4 only? I think so. Yeah, tier 4 only. So it's not too bad. And we now have enough XP to be able to get this. We should have enough money to get the turret as well, which is going to be nice. And we can use that to go on to getting the top gun, which we will use like so. And we still have 14k. How much does this radio cost? It costs 8k. It does go up quite a bit, but the radio isn't something that I'm worried about at the moment, to be quite honest with you. And I just realized that I bought the wrong gun. But actually, which gun is better? It might be this one, to be completely honest. Actually... No, this gun is better. The 5cm is better. It's more accurate, has better pen, although it doesn't have as good alpha. It's got more DPM, so I'm happy with that one. And we can then sort out the ammo, which will be, again, something where we just go full AP. And we are now very much on our way to getting the tier 5. So, yeah. Conserving our free XP as well. So we have 5,000 combined. We're going to keep that. Yeah, so we've got our XP there ready. Not really much to say else, to be fair. Like, you're just doing what you've done beforehand. Saving your free XP for the modules and just grinding your way through. I'm going to play a few more games and hopefully it shouldn't take too long to unlock the tier 5. Okay, so it has actually been a few days since I last recorded. I played a few and then just got really tired and bored and just didn't want to play anymore because I didn't have any bonuses either. I ran out of bonuses. So we waited a few days. I came back. I played one game, got 1k damage, and we got 7k experience. So what I'd recommend is that if you do feel like you're getting a bit tired of playing the game and you're at low tier and you do still have some premium time left, come back tomorrow when your bonus battles reset, or the bonus that you can apply to times 3, and then play them because you'll get a lot more XP. Even if you just come back and it's a times 2 or whatever, like each day, it's better than just banging your head against the wall and just continuing. So yeah, this was quite good, and this account, like, it took us 15 games with 93.33% win rate to get to tier 5. And we now have enough so we can unlock this. And we now have it. I mean, I'm not going to actually buy it because the only thing that you would now need to do is just keep playing some games just to get some money or credits. So for my series, this is complete now. Yeah, overall, we've spoken about in the series what to use free XP for, always save your free XP for the actual modules. There's no point really wasting the free XP on getting the actual tank, just because the modules are super important, and it's always important to have free XP whenever you go to the next module. Like this costs 2,200, and we already have 1.8k, so it's going to be a very, very easy time just to get the tracks, rather than having to grind out multiple games, especially if you are new to the game, where you don't know everything about the game and you're not going to be getting 93% wins or whatever. So yeah, just the biggest thing is that you need to be patient with the game, and you need to just invest your free XP effectively. And when I say patient with the game, I do mean both in grinding out tanks, because I have been there. Let's say that I have like 5,000 XP, free XP, and I get all the way up to like 8,000. I'm like, yeah, I could just, free XP it. It's not worth it. Just grind that extra like 4,000-5,000 out and just get the tank, because it's not worth it going to the next tank without free XP. It's actually kind of insane seeing all these 100% wins. We had 9 games in the Panzer 3J and they were all wins. But even if you're winning, it doesn't mean that you're having a great time. Like, I really was banging my head against the wall towards the end of the video. Maybe I just played too much in one day, like at low tier. Yeah, low tiers can be very, very boring and quite annoying. But now that this series is over, let's start talking about what happens once you get your tier 5 and how you progress up through all the way up to tier 10. Because from 5 to 10 is not so complicated almost. You just take everything that you've already learned about using your free XP, conserving your gold for whenever you can, and your credits, and how to, just play and try and learn the tank and try and learn the game a little bit more. Try and spend as much time at the tier that, so say you're moving up through how we were in the Panzer 2, just try and spend some time here and just learn the game. It's not going to be the same as when you move up into tier 5 and tier 10, but it is going to help you out if you understand some of the basic mechanics. Now, I have many, many different videos on mechanics and guides for different things, even map guides and stuff like that, that will just get you the very, very basic details of the maps, the mechanics and stuff like that. But if you learn them, then once you get to tier 5, things become a lot easier. So try and unlock absolutely everything on the tank. And then once you've unlocked everything, you can then make the tank elite and then do some crew training and get your crew to a reasonable state where you're happy with them. And you could even grind out a few crew skills just on the tank alone. The only thing that I would mention is that use a tank that is going to obviously have the crew that is the same as you move up to tier 5 or something like that. So the Panzer 3E, for example, would be perfect for this because the crew is the same as the next tank. Whereas if you crew trained in a Panzer 2, you'll see that the crew is only 3 crew members rather than 5. So if you really want to try and learn the game and, help yourself out in the long run, then maybe play around about tier 3, tier 4, something like that. Get everything unlocked, make the tank elite, click the accelerated crew training, and then just play some games and just learn about the mechanics and how stuff works and what you can and can't do. A lot of this game is just about patience within the actual game itself. Do not try and just rush forwards and just die, and that's useless to absolutely everyone, even your team and you. So just try and learn what happens and what doesn't happen when you make several decisions in the game. A lot of it is trial and error and just learning from your mistakes. You don't really truly know how to play this game until you've got a good few thousand games under your belt. And that's the truth. Don't be so disheartened. Don't bother with stats or anything like that. Don't care about that. Just try and focus on learning the game. Now, we have just switched accounts, and this is on my main account, so don't worry about anything else. Once you hit tier 5, you will then get access to the directives, which is a new feature that tier 5s and onwards get. do not bother with any of these. Unless you have a lot of them in storage, and obviously you can tell how many down the bottom right, don't bother with them. If you have a lot of Sixth Sense perks, like some of you may be watching this and you are a returning player and you want to know a little bit more, if you have a lot of these and you don't have Sixth Sense, then you could use these. Obviously I have 251 and I never use them, so they're just sitting there doing nothing. So if I was going up and let's say I don't have a very good crew, they don't have Sixth Sense, I could enable this and it will give me the Sixth Sense perk. But most of the time, this is just a credit sink, which you just don't need. Don't bother with any of these. Only these are going to affect equipment. So if you're going to be using equipment, which you could do if you wanted to at tier 5, the one thing that I would say is that make sure that you're using equipment where it's either very, very cheap or you can move it up as you move up the tank. What I mean by that is it has a class. For example, this says improved aiming class 2, which means that it is the class 2 of the equipment. So it will go class 1, 2, 3. Class 3 is the cheapest, class 2 is the middle, and then class 1 is the most expensive. They all cost 10 gold to demount. So that is why I say do not use equipment unless you have a load of credits or you can demount them and move them up. Yes, you could go out and just kit out your tank and then sell it all afterwards, but you then lose 50% of whatever you spent. I mean, I suppose if the equipment is only, like 50k or something, like 100k for this, then you lose 50k. It's not too bad. For example, on tier 8s, this cost 600k for a piece of equipment. And that's going to cost you a lot of money in the long run, especially if you just keep buying it and then you lose 300k. That's 300k for each one. That's 900k per tank that you move up to. So if you do have some gold, I recommend that you save some of it to demount equipment if it can be moved up to the next tank. Now, it is pretty easy to find out what the next class is for your next tank, because all that you have to do is find the next tank, click this little add to comparison icon up here, or you could even click on it and then hover over it and click it like that. Or you could even right click it and then click add to comparison. Many different ways that you can do it. But then it will display a little scales down the bottom right down here. You go to comparison, you go to configure, you click on the equipment, and it will tell you what class it is. As you can see, improved aiming class 2, you got improved hardening class 2. So these are all still class 2. So if the previous vehicle was class 2, you can move up all of that equipment. It will cost you 30 gold or demount kits if you have any. I don't know if you actually get any by default through just playing the game as a beginner, but that is a good thing to keep a lookout for. Now, one more thing is that the boot camp, if you complete all the missions, one, you will get premium time, which is great, and also a little bit of gold and stuff like that. But you will also get a token that you can purchase a tier 6 vehicle for free. So that means that you don't have to research anything up to the tier 6, and you can just choose any tier 6 in the game. So continuing along the line of I've just grinded down and got to the VK31H, I could then go all the way to the British line, for example, and get a Churchill 7 for free. You won't have any upgrades, and it won't cost you any research, any money, but you'll be able to purchase this and then grind it out from there. So from tier 6, you can then go and continue grinding. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend that you use the token on something that you've already been grinding, because it doesn't really make sense. Like if I was grinding all the way up through this and then I use the token on the VK3601H, doesn't really make sense because you've already been grinding that. So maybe on a tank line that you want to skip out the lower tiers on, there's plenty of options that you can choose from. Just keep that in mind that you can get a free tier 6 tank just by completing bootcamp missions. And the last thing that I will say is that field mods get activated once you hit tier 6. Do not worry about these at all, because most of the time you're going to be grinding through a tank and then selling them, and then selling the tank and moving up to the next tank. And you're not going to keep playing the game enough to be able to use field mods. Field mods are something that, let's say the KV1S for example, if you go to the tech tree, you'll see down here field mods, and after you click it, you'll then be brought into the field mods selection. The thing is, you have to fully unlock the tank and elite the vehicle to be able to use field mods. So it's not necessarily something that's worth it, because one, you then have to spend extra time just dumping XP into field mods rather than progressing into the next tank, and two, you have to unlock everything. Like, it's probably easier just to unlock this, sell the previous tank, move up. But once you do hit tier 6, and say you wanted to train your crew at tier 6 because maybe the tank is suiting the rest of the line a bit better, or something like that, like we spoke previously about the crew members and stuff like that, then just make sure that you have not ticked the accelerate crew training, because it will not work, as you do need to accumulate XP to get the field mods. And these will change as you go up through the tiers. I'm not going to do any more talking about field mods, but you'll be able to see as you move up. So that is pretty much everything that you need to know about the journey from 1 to 5 and then onwards. Take your time. Don't rush it. It's not worth rushing this game because you usually get punished for it very, very aggressively, actually. And your journey will happen. You will get to tier 10. It might take you a few years. It took me a few years to get my first tier 10. I didn't play the game consistently. My first tier 10 was the IS-7, and it took me a good few years and a good few thousand games. On my other account, I spent maybe a few hundred games and I got tier 10, but that's after I've already been through and grinded a lot of tanks on my main account. Yes, experience helps a lot, and that is the majority of what this game is, experience. You're not just going to become amazing overnight. Yes, some people will have natural talent and natural ability, but it needs experience and knowledge of the game to actually be good at it. So I hope that you did all enjoy this series, and I do hope that you are all doing well. Next week, I'll be back to normal. There's going to be no more videos until Monday. I really messed up my sleeping pattern and stuff like that this week, actually. Nothing to do with this mini-series, it's just life. But yeah, next week we will start the grind on Monday, and it'll be back to full flow normality next week. So Monday, Wednesday will be the credit grind, Friday, again the grind, and we'll be grinding the Super Conqueror on Big Noober. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It does all help me out greatly. And I'll see you all in the next video.